In today's video, we will be covering an overview of carbohydrates. Let's begin with what is commonly known about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the most abundant macronutrients on our planet. They serve as a major source of energy and play an important role in helping to regulate blood glucose levels in the body. But what else do we need to know? Let's take a closer look at the structure of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates can be classified into three main structural types. First, monosaccharides. These are simple sugars made up of a single unit. Examples include glucose, galactose, and fructose. Next, we have disaccharides, which are formed when two monosaccharide units are linked together. Common examples include sucrose, lactose, and maltose. Finally, there are polysaccharides. These consist of long chains of monosaccharides and include glycogen, cellulose, starch, and fiber. And that gives us a basic overview of carbohydrates and their structures. Next, we learn about the types of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are mainly classified as simple and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are mainly either monosaccharides or disaccharides. They are rapidly digested and absorbed by the body when consumed. As a result, they provide a quick burst of energy and cause blood sugar levels in the body to rise. Some examples of simple carbohydrates include sugary drinks, fruit juice, baked goods, sugar itself, chocolates, and many more. That is simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates, on the other hand, are carbohydrates with a more complex structure, known as polysaccharides. They take longer to digest and cause a more gradual increase in blood sugar levels rather than a rapid rise. Complex carbohydrates also have types, which include fiber and starch. Some examples of foods that contain complex carbohydrates include different types of fruits and vegetables, oats, grains, nuts, and many more. Well, that is a wrap on the types of carbohydrates. Now, let us move on to carbohydrate digestion. We will learn how different parts of the body are responsible for carbohydrate digestion and how different carbohydrate structures are digested. Enzymatic digestion starts in the mouth, where saliva releases an enzyme called amylase, which breaks carbohydrates into simpler units for further digestion. Most digestion occurs in the small intestine, where carbohydrates are further broken down to prepare them for the absorption stage. The large intestine, however, does not use digestive enzymes. Instead, it relies on bacteria to ferment and digest the carbohydrates that the small intestine could not digest. Monosaccharides are already in their simplest form, so no enzymes are required for digestion. They are rapidly absorbed in the small intestine and enter the bloodstream. Disaccharides are broken down into monosaccharides by specific enzymes found in small intestines such as sucrase, lactase, and maltase. Polysaccharides have a more complex structure, and starch and fiber are digested differently. Starch is digested by the enzyme amylase, which is first produced in saliva and then by pancreatic amylase. It is broken down into maltose by maltase in small intestine, which is a monosaccharides. Fiber, however, is digested through fermentation by bacteria in the large intestine, as humans lack the enzymes needed to digest fiber. That is digestion. Now, let us move on to how the simpler forms of carbohydrates are absorbed afterward. After digestion, monosaccharides are absorbed across the intestinal cell membrane and transported to the liver via the bloodstream. In the liver, fructose and galactose are converted into glucose, which is then used for energy or stored as glycogen for later use. With that, what remains is carbohydrate metabolism. There are several key pathways involved in carbohydrate metabolism, including glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, the electron transport chain, glycogenesis, glycogenolysis, gluconeogenesis, and the pentose phosphate pathway. The main roles of these pathways are to produce energy, synthesize glucose or store glucose, and produce NADPH. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. You now have a clear understanding of what carbohydrates are, including their structure, types, digestion, absorption, and a brief overview of carbohydrate metabolism. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video, where I'll break down all the key pathways of carbohydrate metabolism in a clear and simple way. Finally, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe to Flipping Nutrition for more informative and easy to understand nutrition content.